We've had collisions and crashes, slips and slides, and great racing in between. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Nada. Today, we find ourselves at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, also known as the Temple of Speed. My name is Kevin Boss, joined today in the box by Tim Edwards and Jesse Lee on the cams. Last time out in Valencia, it was pretty wet, with Seville taking the lead in Pro, with Flamger and Ipek following him, with Orlitz taking the honours in silver, followed by Kwiatkowski and Neil Pimlott. This time out, it's a bit drier, and do you think it's going to stay that way, Ted?
I should hope so, as we had some drive weather today in the 4-hour one-off that we had. And looks like today it's going to be continuing with that nice dry spell that we have. So yeah, it's good news for the drivers. They don't have to mess around with setups and stuff. They can just go for a full dry setup and pretty plain sailing for an hour.
Yeah, as we saw before the broadcast started in the free practice before the qualifying, the Silvers were actually doing pretty well. And for a long time, the top three drivers were silver, with the pros really having to get to it to get anywhere near their times, as we're now looking at Grim Lilith in the Race Ventura TED mode. Porsche 115 starting his lap out of the Parabolica towards the first chicane, the Variante Retifilio. What do you expect from today, Ted? Do you think, like we saw in free practice, that the Silvers will really bring it to the pros, or will the pros come out on top?
It's a difficult one. We didn't really see many good laps come from the pros. I think they were just testing the water, seeing how their setups were handling, probably getting some tyre pressures. I know a few people have been doing some other races this weekend and that. We had the 4-hour one-off earlier, so I think people are a little bit tired. Just trying to get used to a GT3 after probably driving the GT4s earlier on. So we just have to see how they go, as we see Ipex up there with 147.4, followed by Isilda, Matthew Malcolm with a 48.3. So I think that times are going to come down. There should be some more 47s out there. We just have to see what cars can make it in there. Obviously, there's an Audi on pole in the minute, Ferrari in second in the silver category, and 2 Porsches. Obviously, we've got those Mercedes. We just have to see how they can do.
Yeah, and the whole season, the Silvers have already been bringing it to the pros. Like last time out, it was Alexander Orlitz, the silver winner, who got 4th overall. So they really are able to bring it to these pro drivers. At the moment, there's still a couple of drivers who are yet to set a lap, especially in the silver field. Most of the pros have already set a lap, but as per usual, we expect the track to always get faster and faster and times to drop, as we're now watching João Manso in the 222 going towards the Parabolica, looking over now at the time, currently still on a valid lap. Going to have to wait and see what it ends up being as he exits the Parabolica towards the start-finish straight, about to cross the line. Let's see where he ends up. And it is supposedly an improvement. At least he's in a P11 with just got dropped. At least he had a 1:49.080, his best lap so far.
Yeah, we just got a few more silvers to come through. Like we see Piscina here in the 903 M4, so just coming around Parabolica now to finish off their lap. Let's see what they can do. And maybe not. Maybe they're just starting a lap. I was totally wrong on that one, boss.
No, it seems that he's invalidated that laps, and that tends to happen. Like, they're all pushing already to try and get a good lap in, though what might be better now is to just maybe not search for the absolute limit and just put in a valid lap, as a lot of the cars already have done. But like, one of those that hasn't set a valid lap yet is Gary Barham, but by the looks of things, he's only done an out lap so far. So yeah, for him, he's still, like I said before, just try and not look for those track limits at the moment. Just set a solid lap, get yourself on the board, and afterwards try and find those absolute limits and, tickle the track limits that little bit to get the most out of your lap time. Looking now at the board, there are especially in the lower half of the field, there are a lot of drivers improving, especially, of course, the ones who haven't set a lap yet. So now here with Tino trying to get a good lap in, currently in P8. And he sets a lap of a 48.67, which does not improve because his best lap so far is a 148.58. So yeah, still everyone looking to improve their time.
Yeah, just looking at the timings and people are jumping around left, right, and centres. We have basically a big long train of Phil Roberts at the back of that train, if you like, and second and third are filled by Silvers, followed by sixth, eighth, and 10th. So the pro drivers pretty split at the moment, but we just have to keep an eye. They still have 6 minutes and 50 seconds left, so there's plenty of time to get laps in. It's it's not the hardest track we have, but it is pretty warm out there. 24 ambient with a 32 track is quite toasty, but with these long straights, be able to cool the tires off pretty well and the brakes as well. So it's not too bad of a track to have this heat on, but just looking at the timing again, Orlick and Pimlott, the only two cars that have not set a time. So we will keep an eye out for that. And just looking at Jordan Daly is a bit behind in pace. Same with Phil Roberts and Grim Linnett, funny enough. But I know Phil has been stewarding for us today with the 4-hour race we had. Coming into this is, he's probably a little bit tired. He was a bit busy today. Jordan Daly did some esports stuff for us. And he's also hurt his arm, so he's probably really struggling. As he didn't take part in the 4-hour, which he was going to, so he's struggling a bit. And Grim Linnett just come back from America, so maybe a bit of jet lag. Who knows?
Yeah, a lot of things for a lot of drivers here. Like I know some drivers are still working on the Saturday. For some, for a lot of us, it's already late in the evening, so a lot of things happening, especially for the guys who are already like doing stewarding, doing esports driving, having done our 4-hour one shot earlier today. A lot of things happening to all the drivers. Looking at Nampusino currently, before he reaches the Parabolica, it's about 2/10 up on his current time. That would put him up to third perhaps. So if he is able to keep that going, lost a little bit going into the Parabolica and keeps losing time as he exits the corner. And it's about the same time he's done before. No, it's actually his best lap so far with a 48.112, though it's not really helped him get up the rankings as he's being lead by all the others. Currently, we still have Ipek in the lead, followed by Flamger, and then still the silver of Matthew Malcolm in P3. Pole time currently a 147.407. As we have a yellow flag at the end of the Retifilio. It's just a car going back to the pits. Now looking at Edgardo Donoso. Has already set a time, currently 4/10 up on his lap as he is finishing that lap. And let's see, puts him to P16, 407.
Yeah. Flamger just took the second by a 47.677, so only 2/10 off of IPEC. So the Porsche's still got some legs around here. Very well driven by Flamger there. Moffat is on for a good lap, just losing some time out of Ascari. That's such a horrible part of the track. So, you've got to get it right. If you hit the curves wrong or you get dragged around, it's not so much fun. You can lose a lot of time. And I think they lost about 10th or 2 there, so we just have to see what they get at this final corner. I can tell you they are 2/10 up on their time, but we will have to wait and see. And they do improve to a 47.8, but it's just not enough to take third.
Yeah, there's still a lot to Monza, even though people say it's only a couple of laps. It's also had some changes, like built in 1922. It's the third purpose-built track in the world, as we're looking at Gary Barham cross the line, giving himself P6 with a 148.045. Of course, this isn't the original layout of Monza. Like the chicanes have been added, and it used to have the oval, which you can sometimes still from some camera positions. But yeah, you were also talking about the tires, like getting the rest a little bit on the straights. But if you still look at the track, every time there's a corner, you might have some long straights, but there's still a chicane, and then especially if you look at the first chicane, right after that, we're going straight into the Curva Grande, which once again is going to punish that left-hand tire.
Yeah, looking after your tyres is such a big thing in this new patch. You know, scrub them too much on your out lap, you know, with cold tyres or whatever. Um, you really damage them. You get graining and stuff. And I think around Monza you can get graining quite a lot because you know there's some fast corners. You throw the car in. You know, want to get the most out of it. You want to get a good exit for the straights. Basically, after every corner, there's a little straight at least. So you know you're trying to get the best exit you can. You just chucking the cars in. So you really can warm the tires up. And with this track temp, yeah, it really affects them. So you know, when they start the race, they don't really want to, you know, lap 1, 2, 3. They don't want to, you know, send it too hard into the corners, else you know they're going to ruin the tires, and that's not a great thing today.
No, definitely not with these track temperatures. We've got a minute and 30 seconds left in this qualifying session. Still, everyone trying to improve. But it does seem like a lot of the drivers have reached their limits. Currently seeing Epec is actually improving while he's already got the pole position time. So you now see him here going towards Lesmo 2 and then barreling towards Ascari. Currently 2/10 up on his previous pole time. But yeah, while we're here, of course, this is Saturday Night Owl here at RCI. There's something a little bit different about this series because every time has different pitch requirements. Last time it was a double pit stop. What do we have today? Oh, that's a big wide. Oh, he's fully spun it. And does he hit the wall? He has hit the wall, and that is the end of that lap for 11th Epec. He was really improving, and yeah, just pushed that a little bit too hard, too far, and just as you said, Ted, before, out of Ascari, hit the bumps a little bit too hard and it'll spit you out.
Yeah, the problem is, you can just see how much they are sending it through the corners. You know, Ascari is so bumpy, exit is so bumpy, as you saw, took off like a plane, and then, you know, just bounced wrong on the rear and just send them off to the left. So you know they're 10 seconds left. They're just gonna be sending it. It doesn't matter what you've got. You've got a lap in. You might as well try and go for the best possible lap you can, even if that is jumping over the curbs.
Yeah, we already have a lot of drivers gone into the pits, no longer sending a lap, but now following Grim Lilith on his final lap. Currently 2/10 up as he goes through Parabolica on his final run to the start-finish line. Can he improve? Can he get himself up the table? So he crosses the line, and he does a 147.815, getting into P4 so far. Still a couple drivers behind on a lap. Adnan Pusina is one of them, as is Phil Roberts down in P15, a little bit lower than we expected him.
Yeah, sure is, but I just wonder if he's not gelling with the Bentley like he has been at the other tracks. You know, it does take a bit to get used to that Bentley on a track like this. I know it's not great for the speed. It's good, really good on fuel, just not great on speed. So maybe that's what he's just struggling with at the moment with his setup. Just his pin not coming across the line. Doesn't move up anywhere. It doesn't improve. No, he does improve at 48.802. So he does improve his time, just doesn't move on the board.
Yeah, so now just a few drivers left to go. We're now looking at Adnan Pusina, also now going through the Parabolica. Looking at his time, he's looking to just about improve his time. His previous fastest lap was a 48.087. Let's see what he can get across the line this time, and goes up to P6 with a 148.037. Not a big improvement, but improvement nonetheless, as there's now, I think, one more car going through the Parabolica, which is the number 18 of Sahil Mustak, going across the line. Looking at the delta, that doesn't seem to be an improvement, but they still gave it their all. And here you have your top three from qualifying. This one now go towards the timetable. We have 11th Epec in P1, pole position with Timothy Flanger. In P2, Matthew Malcolm, P3, taking the silver pole position. Grim Lilith in 4, and Danny Moffat in P5. So we do have that one silver in amongst the pros in the top 5, and a look at that. At Sector 2, both Ipek and Flamga share the same sector time.
Yeah, it's pretty funny to see. Two different cars as well. Don't forget, you got a quick Audi and a good in the corners Porsche. So just shows that the Porsche is still pretty good, and that's why I love it. But yeah, it's people are here, there, and everywhere, which is nice to see. But obviously, you see Phil and Daly down at the bottom, struggling a bit. Obviously, like I say, Daly's got a bit of an injury. Been busy today. Phil's been extremely busy today, helping steward our 4-hour one-off that we didn't ask him to, but as a good steward he is, he just turns up with a few people and just does it for us. So, got to give him, props to him for that, because
And now that we've seen the lineup for the start of the race, we're now going to have a look at our championship standings. First up, we have the pros. As we can see, it's very, very close here at the top with Jonathan Seville and Jordan Watson both on 202 points, leading the top. Jordan Daly 1 point ahead with 133 ahead of Timothy Flamga. Levin Ipek in 5th with 121. Olivier Kierten is just behind with a 106. Rafael Yul 103. Mariano Rodriguez 99, Lucas Weiss 97, and 1 point behind is Phil Roberts with 96. Looking at the rest of the field, Miles Dixon 96 as well, Abel Dos Ramos 93, Danny Moffat 90 points, Grim Lilith 57, Billy Octane has 0 points, and everyone else has signed out of the championship.
here are the silver standings. We've got Matthew Malcolm up on top with 171 points in the Ferrari, followed by another Ferrari, Orlik, with 150, and only 2 points behind is a Martino in the 108 Mercedes, or got to love a Mercedes in this field at 148 points. 4th, 5th, and 6th is Kwiatkowski, Aguilio, and Massano with 135, 129, and 128. Very nice to see them quite close there. Very nice. So 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Redford, Pimlott, Ferreira, and Pacina. 122, 111, 88, and 76. So pretty close in the top 10. Some little battles that could be had, which is very nice to see with 2 rounds left. Here's your next lot of 10 cars. We've got Mustak, Milson, and Starkey 11th, 12th, and 13th with a 65 points. 59 and a 59, so Wilson and Starkey fighting out joint on points. Gotta love to see that. 14th, 15th, and 16th is Byron, Donso, and Allen with 58, 56, and 53. And followed by 3 more cars, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Law, Marky B, and Bren Jones, all in Ferraris, 46, 23, and 19 points. Everyone else has signed out of the championship.
As we've seen now in both Pro and Silver, still all to play for a lot of different drivers in a lot of different positions. But just to come back, I was starting the sentence as we saw Ipek go very wide into Ascari. This is night out. Everything is different in this championship compared to our normal championships. Last time out, we had 2 mandatory pit stops, as every race has a different pit stop requirement, thanks to the beautiful brain of our own Ted Edwards. What is in store for tonight?
Nothing. Nothing is in store for tonight. I gave them two mandatories at Valencia with 1 litre of fuel and fixed fuel time of 25 seconds, and this time I go, no, it's Monza, you can do what you want. There's no pit window, nothing. So if you get damage from T1 shenanigans, and you can go and do your pit stop and do what you need to do. I'm being nice tonight, Kevin. Got to be nice at some point.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see what these drivers do, especially the ones that have already had a very busy day. Like Grim Lilith also helped out with the stewarding today in the 4-hour one-off. We've got Phil Roberts, of course, Jordan Daly already doing the esports for us. But we also have the drivers like where is he? I think it's Redford, who's also raced in today's 4-hour one-off. So having no pit stop requirements, so just go to the end. Maybe they're gonna actually want that little bit of a pit requirement to have those 30 seconds, maybe, if you check tires in a pit stop, to just relax, think about things, but not so far. We're now here at the front of the grid. We see the Audi of EPEC, the 224 car, with the green Porsche of Timothy Flamger, the number 19, right next to him. Then P3 on the left is Matthew Malcolm in a 199 Ferrari, and Grim Lilith in a 115 Porsche. TED mode is the one he has today.
That's
Then
a hot livery. Oh.
It's a hot livery. Yeah, we always like the race Venturas. Then on the left, we got Danny Moffat. On the right, Adnat Pesina, P2 in the silver class in the 903 BMW. Then Gary Barham, P7. Alan in the number 5 Aston Martin P8. And it is nice, actually, to see a couple of these custom liveries. Like, it is really nice to see all the different colors on the field. And, you know, to know that people actually put time and effort into making all these cars look beautiful. Do you have, like, from the lot that we're seeing here now, do you have a favorite? I already heard you saying you really like the race Ventura, but
I would go for my own, but I can't because that's just cheating. Um, I like Redford's. You know, Redford always comes out with a decent livery. To be fair, I don't mind the in-game ones either. Um, you know, the good colours and stuff. I know Daly has his own livery. Jesse, that is Rossi, yes. Um, yeah, I know Daly has his own custom livery. He doesn't have it for the Mercedes. I know he's got it for Ferrari. And if you've watched Friday Champ, you would have seen it. Just Gamers 197. But yeah, I think out of the custom ones, it will be probably Redford over Flamger, as much as I do like the Porsche. But yeah, like you say, it's just nice to see custom liveries, how people spent so much time on them, especially when they don't use the in-game livery with just sponsors put on. They create all the decals and stuff. It just so much time and work goes into it. But yeah, I can say though, Grim Lilith has, I think, probably one of the best sponsors on a car in this grid. And if Jesse can, he'll have a look at the rear end. And there's a mode to the car like you would have a sport button. It's more of a send button, and hopefully Grim uses it today.
well, if there's any track known for sending, it is Monza Turn 1, so we might very well be able to see that. Personally, I think it's an in-game edited livery, but on that Aston Martin of Alan, I do love that color combination. You know, the British Racing Green with, like, yeah, here it is with like the yellow or sometimes the lime green accents. It's, it does something to me. I don't know what, but it is nice to look at. We're now going through the Curva Grande on the formation lap. After that, it's 1 hour of pure go, 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 hit the throttle and no stopping in between. So you already said it a little bit, I said it a little bit, with mode 10 being a send mode, turn 1 at Monza always being difficult. What do you expect out of these lot today? Because looking at the previous races, there have been quite some crashes, as I said at the very start. So what do you expect out of them today, and especially the guys further behind who've already had a long day?
I hope that it goes cleanly, but we know it's Monza T1. I know people get in the mindset of they do their racing line and where they would normally brake, and they forget those cars in front, and they forget they're a bit on a cool tyres. So I'm hoping they don't do that, but I do expect at least one casualty to come out of this, either self-inflicted, braking too late, or having to avoid hitting someone else because they broke late, or maybe someone just gets little rear end tap and ends up in either in the gravel or in the runoff on the left. But hopefully, Kevin, it's clean.
Hopefully, indeed. And as the field now slowly trundles toward the Variante Ascari, I want to say already a big thank you to all our sponsors, which are AK Esports, Digital Motorsport, Driver 61, Go Setups, and Fanatec. More on them later. We're now looking at Matthew Malcolm, pole position for the silver class, P3 overall. There's a good chance also seeing Adbot. Oh, we already have a slide there. I think that was the 11 of Danny Moffat,
yeah.
and it is. Well, luckily, I don't think he got damage, and he will be able to get back up the grid. But, sorry?
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. He was trying to warm his tyres up, and I think he's just maybe ruined them a little bit by having that slide there. Hopefully, it doesn't ruin them to an extent where they don't work anymore. But that was yeah, he was just trying to warm up, and obviously just got the snap because of the low pressure on cold tires.
Well, one thing he's done there with that spin, he has warmed them up, but as you said, he might have ruined them. Yeah, seeing Matthew Malcolm now still starting from P3, seeing how well he did in free practice before qualifying, we can expect him to really bring the fight to Flamger and Ipek as they're now going through the Curva Grande, waiting for that final bit before they hit the green flag racing and they all hurtle down towards turn 1. The very tense moment before the green flag drops. Nerves start to get towards the drivers. They try to find their spots, make sure they don't overspeed before the green flag hits as we go towards the start-finish line. And we are green. Very good start there by Grim Lilith, and also Ipek really getting away from everyone. We do see Malcolm drop away a little bit there as Lilith goes in front of him as they now head towards turn 1. Let's hope they all make it here safe and sound. Going in now, seems like the front group has made it cleanly so far. 3 wide as they go through turn 1. There's a little bit of contact here and there, but I do think for turn 1 that was clean, Ted.
It was pretty clean. I did see 4 wide coming up to T1, but the thing is, now we've got the second chicane, and this is where we can still see shunts, punts, crashes, whatever you want to call them. So far so clean, but you know, the thing is, you can get better exits than someone else.
Oh, do you see someone in the gravel there?
Yeah, as we see John Daly almost having a good run on the Ferrari there. It's just having to back out, and that's what I mean. It's just, you can get a better run than someone else and they can cut you off, and next minute you end up tapping them and there's a big spin. But so far so good. It is on lap 1. It can happen on lap 2. You just have to wait and see. But yeah, very good from everyone. I think Daly gained a few places. Phil still sticking in 15th. Grim Lilith is chasing down Matthew Malcolm in that Ferrari. It just shows you the Porsche does still have legs.
Well, it's actually surprising that Matthew Malcolm's once again come ahead of Grim Lilith, because he had beaten him off the line going towards turn 1. So something happened there that Matthew Malcolm retook that P3 position as they're now fighting for overall third spot on the podium. But it does seem like Ipek and Flamger have taken off so far. I do see a yellow flag there just in front of Ascari. I think that's the 50 of Edgardo Donoso. Maybe we'll see them in just a little bit. And yeah, there we see the car standing still. Can't really see what happened there, but they are not moving. So hopefully they'll get out of the way soon, either being magically sent to the pits or get their car moving again, as the field we see now on the minimap is moving through the Variante Retifilio first chicane, and Edgardo Donoso has got the car started again. So maybe a little bit of a hardware failure there. Now looking with Paolo Martino in P9, trying to get past Thomas Allen in the number 5 Aston Martin as they go towards the second chicane, the De La Roggia. And once again, they are all going through. Don't see any extra incidents so far. I do see a little bit of dust pop up as Phil Roberts is fighting there with the Lamborghini of João Manso, and it does look like João Manso has won out on that one.
Yeah, Phil is struggling a little bit. He's just trying to keep his position, and yeah, it doesn't matter what class you're in, you're still racing for an overall position. There's no points for the silvers overtaking Phil. There's no points for Phil overtaking the silvers, as in because of two different classes. Points are split to the individual pro and silver classes. So it's basically just racing for each other. You know, Phil's a bit off daily at the moment. As you see, there's two cars ahead, two daily from Phil. So Phil's just really trying to keep his 14th place. It's gone up from 15th, which is nice to see. Just have to see how he gets on in the race. And also, that's another thing we have to see, Kevin, is because there's no pit stop. It depends what strategy drivers go for. Will they take tyres? Probably not. This track is pretty okay on tyres as long as you look after them through the corners. But will they half fuel is the question. Because it can help some cars, as you see Grim Lilith just keeping the inside. Hitting the sausage curb gets a little bit loose. The Ferrari tries to go for the inside, but the Porsches have the better exit. But yeah, so we just have to see if they're half fuel, because you can get a better lap times just by doing that. But we see here there's a four-way train for third place. Two Ferraris, a Beamer and a Porsche. Grim covering the inside again. Just keeps it covered from the 199 on Matthew Malcolm. There's a car off the Aston Martin, just takes a just misses the corner altogether.
Nice. Wow, this is all very tight, and yes, it was the Aston Martin of Thomas Allen just going a little bit, cutting the corner a little bit, and it's getting very busy here as they now go through Lesmo 2. Let's see if they all survive. They have so far. Still too wide at the back there, and otherwise it's now line astern. And what a charge forward already by Jordan Daly. It was near the back of the grid, as was Phil Roberts. Phil Roberts not as good of a time as Daly has. And as we now cross the sector timing line, see Jordan Daly in P7. That's quite the climb there from the Just Gamers 197 driver. Now, he's still 3.5 seconds behind Adnan Pasina, but with this rate, he will be catching up to the front of the field rather quickly, you'd think.
Sure will. And I just noticed we have the 67 Ferrari in the pit lane. I'm just looking back on my end to see exactly what happened.
I don't see anything from the sixth. I do see one contact with the 123 on my end, but yeah, it's always a shame. But yeah, also coming back to what you said before with like maybe half fueling. I actually think that if you've planned for that, you're going to lose out massively, because just that time in the pits, it's on one of the faster parts of the track, as we see a yellow flag there in the Variante Rettifilio at the back of the grid. Few cars seem to be involved. And I can see
was involved.
Yeah, the 587 and the 222 were involved, as was the 123. So a few cars entangled there. And of course, we still see Edgardo Donoso way at the back there. And now, yeah, that's the 222 of João Manso, trundling towards the back, being caught into that melee at the first chicane. But yeah, just coming back to what I wanted to say, I think everyone will just take fuel for the full race and go towards the end, because at this point in time, if you go into the pits with everyone going full race speed until the end, even if you just take fuel, you're not going to win out a lot, especially with everyone going at full race pace. You will not win anything there, you'll just lose time.
Update on the 67, they pulled off on the second chicane, didn't even take any of the corners, just pulled to the right, stopped and then went to the back to the pit lane. Not sure why. And also you can see the 587 is lagging all over the place. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one, as we don't have any live stewards for this this season of Night Owl, unfortunately.
Wow.
I don't think that's how you drive the Ferrari, but I think Alexander Ulrich already knows that. Could just be a little bit of problem on their end, but it's
he's just
fine.
doing a nollie.
Exactly.
Just doing the nollie in a Ferrari, new technique,
It's brand new
we
technique.
see
everything at Night Owl.
This is what Nadal is for. Yeah, here we're now looking at Danny Moffat as he going through the De La Roja, trying to get to the back of Matthew Malcolm to get that P4 overall and try and close the gap to Grim Lilith for that pro podium. It does look like Malcolm is sticking close to the back of Grim Lilith in order to try and get that P3 overall. At this point for Malcolm, I don't think it's really about securing that P1 because he does seem pretty secure there, even though Adnan Pusina is behind Moffat. But he's just trying to do this for honor, get on that overall podium and show the pros like, yeah, I'm here to stay, and I'm going to make it very difficult for all of you.
Sure, and I just noticed something. Jordan Daly's up to P7, got past Gary Barham, who was pretty far back from the main group we saw that was fighting Lilith down to Pacina. About 4 seconds from Pacina to Barham, so Daly's making his way up. Didn't have a good qualifying, but race pace is there. Also, with the guys in front fighting just helps them, claw back some time. But yeah, it's not bad going from Daly. Also, Phil Roberts in the last in pro is up to P13. Now I say last in pro, he's P6 in pro, so there's still a big chunk of points. There's quite a few pro drivers that haven't turned up today that he can nab some free points from, and that's the whole thing, isn't it? You want to do every race you can, because there's always going to be people that can't do every race. And as we see here, Grim Lilith taking out Matthew Malcolm. Big hit. That's
going to be a lot of damage there for Matthew Malcolm. That was our leader in the silver class. We've just now gone to Adnan Pusina. It's a real shame because they were having a good fight. He was giving a good go to overtake Grim Lilith, and here comes the rest of the pack. And I think we might see Matthew Malcolm going to the pits, because after hitting the barrier like that a few times, that car will not be fun to drive. He's already been swallowed up by Mustak in the Honda, and Phil Roberts is hounding him right now as they go through Lesmo 2. That's very twitchy out the exit there. He's trying to keep his position. So what do you think? Will he go into the pits, try and repair the car, or try and stick it out and hope to get as many points as he can, because he will lose a lot of time in the pits with that repair?
He needs to pit. As you see, his rear ends. That's not overheated tires or overpressure tire. That is no rear grip, like from the aero. As you see, that wing is not working at all. The diffuser's not working. The front end is messed up. He should pit and repair to try and get some laps. He can try and get a lap and stuff back. He can still get some points. Let's see what he does. He is on the right hand side of the track. He is coming into the pit lane, which is pretty sensible. He's not a danger to other drivers, but he's very, very sketchy. We just have to see if he continues on with the race. Yeah, like I said earlier, there is no live stewarding, as we see Phil Roberts is racing today. Let them have a little break of this season, but there is post-race stewarding, so they can upload evidence of what has happened from their little dash cams and stuff. So I have to have a look at that next Saturday for the final at Suzuka, which is going to be an interesting hour and a half, 90-minute final. But we're not finished here. Still 47 minutes to go, and I already feel like I'm 40 minutes into the race.
Yeah, with everything that's happened, it does feel like we've been going for ages, but it hasn't even been 15 minutes. We're now looking at Mike Redford in the Honda being hounded in the back there by the Aston Martin of Allen. And actually, looking at the timing line, Redford had overtaken Allen. So that's a position gain for Mike Redford, who did start a bit further back. Here we're looking at Neil Pimlott in a Team WRT liveried car. As was said before the race started, that's the Valentino Rossi car. Still trying to get past Starkey in the Ferrari in front. That's Danny Moffat who's passed Grim Lilith. So Of course, we were talking about Matthew Malcolm getting a lot of damage, but that collision will probably also have given Grim Lilith some damage. So it's going to be very interesting to see if that's really going to hurt him, as he's already been overtaken by Moffat. But will he drop back further, being overtaken by Pacina and Daly, maybe?
We'll just have to wait and see. I can tell you, Malcolm is back out on track, so they have repaired all that damage. The car is looking nice and shiny. Those mechanics are super quick around here. You know, in ACC, they just they are wizards. But he's still going around, which is nice to see. Just have to see if they can gain any laps back. They are on the same lap as the 50 Donoso, so possibly overtake them for a position. So you know, it's top 30 for points, so they still getting points, but not as many, not as much as they would hope to have got.
Yeah, of course. Every time you finish a race, you get points if you do enough laps. So, especially in the tight championship, as we have in the silver class here on RCI Saturday Night Owl, you really want to grab every point you can. As we're now looking at Sahil Mustak in the number 18 Honda, just gone ahead, I think. Is just ahead of Phil Roberts, as they've been batting it out for quite a little bit there. Phil Roberts really trying to get past now, so his number Thunderbird 2 livery car is go, and he'll be able to get closer to Jordan Daly maybe, and get a few more points there, though he still has then a lot more silver drivers to get past. So yeah, that's going to be quite the task for our own Phil Roberts there. Now, to one of our own, Grim Lilith, going towards the first chicane, trying to get past back Moffat. That's quite the squeeze there. Does Grim make it? No, he takes the escape road. Just was a bit too late on the brakes, knows he can't make the corner, goes straight on. He should give the position back. And see if he does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does so. So yeah, that's good driving by Grim Lilith, knowing he can't make the corner, release the brake, take the escape road, and yeah, give the position back. And he has made it difficult for himself now with Pacina very closely behind.
I think Grim pressed too much of that send button, but
too much mode Ted.
Too much Ted mode. But just looking at the standards for pro, we've got Jonathan Seville and Jordan Watson that aren't here today. They're both joint on points, 202 points each. They're both joint for first. So Jordan Daly in third, 133, followed by Flanger, 132. So they're fighting there. Flanger is in second. Daly's in fifth in pro at the moment. So Daly and Flanger is going to get some points back. The positions will change if they finish like they are now. But they get closer to those top two drivers that aren't here. And they've already signed out once already. So they're going to use another sign out. And we'll have to attend Suzuka. And if not, Jordan and Flanger will take the top two positions. Obviously, there's IPEC there as well, who's leading the race. They're in fifth with 121, so they can gain a lot of points from it. So they've got fastest lap at the minute. They had pole, I believe, if I'm not wrong. So there's more points there. So hotting up in pro, which is what we do like to see around here. Just looking at the silvers, Matthew Malcolm is on top with 171. But it is at the back, almost at the back of the field, with that one car sat in pit lane. I'm not sure why. Probably something wrong with their sim gear, but got all 150 in second, and they had things happen earlier on, and I don't see their name anymore.
Yeah, it does seem like we have dropped one driver. But yeah, with the number 67 in the pit lane, maybe something wrong with their sim gear. If you want to get some better sim gear, you might want to head on over to Digital Motorsports. They have the top brands and it's your one-stop shop for everything you need for your sim racing. They even have their own bespoke little builder, so you can check out, well, choose yourself whatever you want. So head over to digitalmotorsports.com and check them out there. We're now looking at Jordan Daly, who has apparently taken P5 and
Oh
has gone
no.
ahead of Pacina. I've missed that actually, but yeah, that means that all the pro drivers except Phil Roberts have now taken the top 5 positions, but we see Grim Lilith there with a drive-through penalty. As we have said before, no live steering, so that has to be a drive-through for track limits, and
Yeah. Like
it's a not well. I can't really remember. Like, I'm not really knowing Monza to be heavy on the track limits.
I'm guessing he got one for first chicane, the T1. He went off and he carried a lot of speed, so that's definitely one. I don't know if he could get 2 in a row from that. Maybe 2 corners, who knows? But he's obviously picked one up somewhere else, and that's going to hurt him a bit for the points. He was in third at that moment in time as he came into the pit lane, but just pushing it a bit too much, taking a car out. This is going to hurt Grim if that report comes in as well. So we just have to wait and see. But Jordan Daly is motoring along. He is got, I would say VTEC, but he's not in a Honda. But screw it, Mercedes VTEC is just powering through that car right now. He is full beans. He wants a third place. He wants the podium. Didn't get one yesterday. So yeah, he definitely wants to get one on night out.
Yeah, he's probably put some of that speed juice TM in his Mercedes. He's driving like a man possessed, trying to catch the 11th Ferrari of Moffat's. And yeah, seeing where he came from, that's quite the drive forward. Because let's see, how many plays did he take? I can't really remember, but
Too many.
I think too
Man's
many. I
fast.
think he started like 13th, 14th, somewhere there. That is like about 10 positions he's gained in that time. It's
16th
absolutely
he
insane.
started.
16
Behind
Jeez.
Phil. Phil is now up in 10th. That's a 5-place gain. Go on, Mr. Roberts. He is also flying in that Bentley. He is doing amazingly. As we see in the pit lane, Orlix is back again. Must have just been a drop in the connection, as we did see them deciding to go deep sea diving through tarmac. Pretty sure we're quite far away from the sea, but that's a shame. If they continue now, they will still be within the 85% rule. You know, if you don't complete 85% of the leader's laps, you don't get any points. But if you do, you still get the points where you finish. So just have to see what they do. They will be locked for 2 minutes, I think, in the pit lane, and then release. Just have to wait and see. But it's getting a little bit crazy.
Yeah, you're always stuck in the pit for a bit when you come back after a DC. Though it is good to see them try and reconnect and continue the race, because they are currently in P2 in silver class, so every point counts there, especially with how close it is. Matthew, and also with Matthew Malcolm having dropped back massively. He's just behind Orlix now. Ahead of Orlix, but continuing now, he will stay close to Malcolm and maybe take the fight to him for the championship at the last round at Suzuka. Currently looking at Phil Roberts, still trying to get past... no, he's already passed Mustak and now trying to get past Martino in the 108 Mercedes as they barrel towards the Ascari chicane. Getting closer and closer, and it seems the longer the race goes, Phil Roberts is getting more comfortable with the car and being able to send it into around other people and gain more and more positions, getting closer to the top 4.
Sure is. And here's the thing with Orlix or anyone that's dropped back like Malcolm or Donoso, is we know firsthand from today's race, in the one-off we did, more coming soon. Keep an eye out on our Discord and our website at racerci.com. There's you can fall back, and we see a car. That's Orlix joining back on track. So very nice to let them cars go in front rather than get in the way. Like Orlix going out now, we know firsthand from today's race that we get taken out, get damaged and stuff, but you still carry on the race because other people can have mistakes, big crashes, drive-throughs. If they do a drive-through and they speed in the pit lane, that's a stop and go 30. Anything can happen. We saw a lot of that today with the drive-throughs, the track cuts, and all the penalties and stuff. So, and we gained quite a few places from that. So, if I'm Orlix now, I'm just hoping people get penalties. It's not a nice thing to think of, you want to be nice to everyone, but also you're racing for points. So just have to see. And Matthew Malcolm back in pit lane. I don't know why.
They might have had another off, maybe.
I will
So
have a check.
But yeah, seeing them back in the pit lane is not something that you'd like to see, especially as they've already had their off. And if they decide to quit now, that will really hurt them trying to get out, trying to get ahead in a championship. And we just got a message from Malcolm in the YouTube chat. We see you all there. We're keeping an eye on, and he tried, but he couldn't do it after crashing at Ascari. So that is Matthew Malcolm out of this race. And if Orlitz continues, he's going to close in on Matthew Malcolm with the points he'll gain this race. Someone else who's had a bad time is Edgardo Donoso, still going around. And actually, well, I was trying to see if it was closing in maybe on Grim Lilith, but Grim Lilith is actually closing in on Zhao Manso, trying to climb back up the field after that drive-through to get back to Phil Roberts and have a duke out for that P5 position in Pro Class. But yeah, it does seem like all his internet issues have been resolved, so he can continue now and bring the fight to Matthew Malcolm for the final round at Suzuka.
I just had a quick look at our cameras that we've got for Matthew's crash, as he says, and yeah, in the middle of the sky, that right-hander, he gets too much over the curb, more onto the green, as we see here. Really rides it in. I think it just lifts the middle of the car up, and he just loses all grip in the rear end, and it just snaps to the left. And, yeah, hits the wall pretty hard, so do feel sorry for Matthew there, but it's one round. You have a drop round as well, so your worst points won't be counted, and this is where you want to use a drop round. He's used it on Watkins Glen. He got a 5th place, that's 44 points, so today's going to be a lot lower points. He's going to get some more points back into his points pot, so his win is not out the window yet for Silver Class.
Yeah, of course, we still have the drop round where your lowest points tally from one round will be deducted from your championship standings. So we're looking at Mike Redford here in the 95 Honda, still trying to get past Thomas Allen in the number 5 Aston Martin. For the last couple of corners, he's been very close. He might be able to send it into turn 1 here at Retifilio, but he just stays behind for now, thinks better of it, maybe trying to get a better exit before they go back towards the Curva Grande. But it's... Oh, wait, is he getting closer? No, it still seems to be about the same distance, but he has another chance here in the second chicane at the De La Roja. Now looking from the hood, will he send it? He has a look, but he's just trying to be very annoying now for Thomas Allen. And this is a very... Oh! Allen goes a bit wide. That's a better exit from Redford, and he takes P6 away from Thomas Allen. I was about to say he's using the very known technique of always being in your opponent's mirrors, trying to get them off balance, and he did just that.
Well, that's the thing. You got to be annoying. Not flashing lights and stuff, but just there can off-put someone a lot. You do struggle with the aero wash, pushing you out in corners and stuff. But here we're going into a Ascari. Oh, I thought very close. Contact there with the Aston Martin, but just Aston Martin just get it stopped just in time. But oh my God, that Jesse just points out the team Aston Martin F1. Okay, but I just like to point something out with Redford. He always steals my number, 95. I always have to try and sign up to events like one-offs and stuff just to try and get the 95 number, and if I don't, then I'll just cry about it and I have to choose a different number. But no,
Oh, maybe we need to 1v1 him on Rust.
oh God, that's going back some years, Kevin.
And here we have Thomas Allen in Aston Martin going towards the Retifilio, trying to shoot it up the inside. He holds his brakes a bit more. He'll try and switch back at the exit of turn 2, but it does seem like Redford was able to fend off this attack for now. But maybe we'll see a duplicate of the move that happened last turn when Redford got past Allen into the De La Roggia. Let's see if he's just going to be a little bit annoying, yet he has a look, goes back, and let's see if Redford's able to keep his composure or the same thing happens to him as happened to Allen. It does seem like Redford had the good exit, and he's not being phased by the tricks put out there by Thomas Allen.
I can give you an update in Pro Class. Jordan Daly has taken 3rd place away from Danny Moffat. Moffat did a 51.2 last lap. Daly did a 49.4, whereas 2 front runners are doing 48.5s to 48.8. So Daly's on a charge. We just have to see, as he sends it a bit too hard for Ascari. We just have to see if Daly can get into the 48s and keep them there. His best lap is a 48.8. Which is just getting there with Flamga's last lap. So we will keep an eye on the top of Pro Class, but it's just kicking off everywhere. I see Craig Stark in 123 is now right behind Pimlot, I believe. As we see, just coming out of the Sky, coming up to Parabolica. Look at that, just Pimlot's like, get out of my slipstream. And Stark is like, no mate, I am staying in this slipstream, give me that. And it's just crazy how the Ferrari can just break a bit late in the BMW, but by the looks of it, that entry was not what Starkey wanted. The BMW still keeps its distance. Some good racing tonight, Kevin.
Yeah, a lot of good racing. Maybe the Ferrari could just got a little bit too close to the back of Neil Pimlot's BMW for what he wanted. So just going a little bit wider to try and avoid contact. Maybe he saw it coming as they go through the first chicane. And that Ferrari of Starkey still hounding Neil Pimlot, staying in that slipstream and trying to get that P12 position. Let's see, I think closest battle is at the moment Danny Moffat trying to get that P3 back from Jordan Daly. So we just switch over as they go out of Les Mode 2, and they're very close together, only 5/10 split these two drivers. We've already seen Jordan Daly go wide a little bit into Ascari the previous lap. So if that happens again, that's going to be a prime position for Moffat to take that P3 away again. Though it does seem like Daly keeps it clean this time, though there's still one more turn in Ascari. And yeah, they both make it. So what we saw in the previous lap with Starkey is that Ferrari can break a bit later in towards the Parabolica. So maybe Moffat can get a bit closer to Daly and try and attack him then into turn 1.
Well, just under half of the race, well, just over half of the race just gone, with 28 minutes and 50 seconds left. We've had only really one big crash, a few driver switching around. Jordan Daly's gone from P16 to P3. Grimlith, as you see here, battling with Pimlot, dropped down the order from 3rd place for a drive through for track limits. Phil Roberts has gone up the field. Everyone's just jumbled here, there and everywhere. Only had 2 cars that have gone back to the garage and pulled that garage door down. So it's not been such a bad race for Monza at Night Owl. Been pretty clean, which is nice to see. So Grimlith in the slipstream of his BMW coming up to T1. He's looking for it. Is he going to send it? He thought about it, and then yeah, that was a bit late decision not to go for it, but Grim really wants to get some time back. But yeah, it's been pretty good race so far. It's still battles going up and down the field, people improving on the lap times, people struggling a little bit, but all in all, a good race for these drivers.
Yeah, so far pretty good as Grimlith once again gets closer and closer to the back of Neil Pimlot's 151 BMW M4. Now going through Les Modes 1 and 2, usually not a place where you really overtake. Though honestly, I thought Grim would go for the overtake before they would enter Parabolica last lap. So it goes a little bit wide there out of Les Mode 2, losing a bit of distance now to that BMW as we look from the rear to see that Mode 10 Race Ventura livery maybe send it into the next time into Parabolica. He's very close now. But yeah, you always have to be careful in the Ascari because it has those anti-cut curbs that will eat you out if you take a little bit too much liberty there. As we now go towards the Parabolica, and no, Grim decides to just stay behind for now and maybe have a better exit to take the fight to Neil Pimlott into the Rettifilia.
Yeah, did you know, Kevin, Grim Lilith drives on a controller?
I found out today.
Yeah, well,
So,
if you do play on a controller and you want to get some, sim wheels and that, where would you go?
well, always have a look at one of our partners, Fanatec. Fanatec, of course, is a company which needs no introduction. They're a global leader in high-end sim equipment. Look at the link below to go to fanatec.com. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps us out with the costs by using that affiliate link down. And if you make a purchase, it helps us very much to keep all the servers alive and well. So head to fanatec.com with the link down below and have a good look if you find something there. Once again, we see Grim Lilith go a little bit wide. This time it's Lesmo 1 where he goes wide, and he's really trying to push to get past Neil Pimlott, and he wants to get back to where like Phil Roberts is there in P9. He wants to get those points, those very valuable points with how close the championship is. But it seems like Neil Pimlott is doing just enough to keep ahead of Grim here. Because every time we can see here, like in the Sky Chicane, he gets very close, but then it's just not enough at the end of the straight, though this seems to be very close.
It sure doesn't. Do you know why Grim Lilith is so fast?
Probably because he uses Go setups. They provide expertly made ACC setups for all skills, as he now takes the inside line. And he's side by side now with Neil Pimlott as they go up towards the start-finish stretch. They try and go towards the turn 1 chicane. But that BMW power is a little bit too much for the Porsche of Grim Lilith. He has a look again.
Ooh.
He is deciding it. No, once again, very late decision to not go for that overtake. As I was just saying, Go setups, they make ACC setups for all skill levels, both for safe and esports level. They use professional esports driver and sim racing engineers. And yeah, there's something for everyone, all the range from beginners to esports. So visit the link down below, go to gosetups.com and find a setup for you today.
Yeah, I've got to say, like, go all the plugs and that. Go setups are pretty good setups to get hold of. Even if you're just starting out on the game and you want to know why the setup, why people use setups. Get some Go setups. You don't have to buy all of them. You can just get a few. They have a subscription plan and stuff, so it's pretty nice and easy and simple. And they've got all the new cars on there now, and they're working on the rest of them. And also, I hear some GT4s in the future. They're going to get some setups out for as well. It's Grim Lilith going for the inside out of the Ascari with that BMW again, but they are pretty good. I've used them. Just to see how do they set the cars up, because obviously 1.9 is just changed the game of how setups work. We've got the new yaw and how the tires work, and Grim just going a bit wide there, but yeah, just looking at them helps me think, oh, that's how they've got time out of this car, and what they did to achieve that, and it also helps you drive the car faster and that. So they don't just have one setup that you get like a normal setup, and then you get an esports setup, which would the esports be a little bit more sketchy, a little bit more loose, but is faster. So it just depends which one you want to use. They also include, I believe, wet setups as well. So just some good setups to grab. I definitely recommend.
Yeah, they got something for everyone. And in the 1.8 patch, they also had a pack for the Jaguar, one of the few setup online stores that had it. As Neil Pimlott
Hell
just has a
yeah.
bad exit out of the De La Roja, Grim Lilith takes the inside into Lesmo 1, and that is finally the position for Grim Lilith. He's had to work hard for it. Now let's see if he can keep it, because we've already seen that power of the BMW is a little bit too much for Grim Lilith's Porsche to compete with. But now that he's got that breathing room, especially in like the Ascari chicane, he can try and get far enough ahead of Neil Pimlott to, you know, get that little bit of breathing room so the power of the BMW doesn't overpower the Porsche at the end of a straight. But yeah, as you said, Go Setup has a setup for all skill levels. And if you want to improve your driving, go to Driver 61. They help sim racers fulfill their potential on track. They have a one-on-one driver coaching. They also have full driver courses. And you can also go for group lessons. If you head over down using the link, use driver D61 coaching discount code we have down below, you can get 25% off, and it all helps us out here. As I just said, now that Grim Lilith has that little bit of breathing room, we see that he's got enough of a breathing room to stay ahead of the BMW. And yeah, that seems to be the position gain for Grim Lilith, though he's lost quite a bit of time to Starkey in front now.
Just looking at the front end of the grid, the field, IPEC is just storming away with this first place, doing 148.8s basically every lap. Some 148.5s. Flamga's doing 48.8s very constantly. Sometimes a 48.9. So he's not really gaining. 9 seconds difference there or thereabouts. Jordan Daly sort of dropped off. He did a 49.4 last lap. He's still good 15, 16 seconds off of Flamga. Mofat's not too far behind Daly, matching pace. So these front four pros are just got the same race pace, and that's not what you want when you're driving, is to have the same race pace as someone in front of you. It gets very annoying, and that's when you can start making little mistakes. I think that's why Daly got a 49 last lap, and Flamga's just done a 49 as well, 49.3. So I wonder if it can get in your head. It can play mind games with you where you want to do you want to do well. You want to try and keep the pace up, but Daly's got Moffat behind him. That's going to put pressure on Daly as well. Like I said, Daly's got an injury, so that's probably really like hurting him. I think it's shoulder or arm. That's not what you really want. At least it's Monza, not many corners, but it still plays on your mind, and just have to see if the Mercedes can hold off the Ferrari.
Yeah, and of course, with him already having done the endurance for our esports team, then also having to look at the driver in your rearview mirror, seeing what they do instead of being able to just drive your own race, look forward, you have to look back. It changes the line a little bit, maybe puts you a bit more under pressure. And as you said, if you've got an injury like he has, then it only makes it a bit more difficult to just relax and do your own pace that you know you can drive. So we're still looking at Moffat trying to get past Jordan Daly. This is currently our closest battle on the track to go through Ascari. And it seems like they're always about 5 6 tenths apart. So it's very close between these two. Also, last lap was only 2 tenths between these two. So yeah, not a lot in between them as they now go through the Parabolica. And that's Daly going wide. That opens it up for Moffat if he has a good exit. So they now go a little bit side by side. The Mercedes of Daly just a little bit ahead, but Moffat has that good exit. The front and rear axles are now side by side, and this will probably be a move into turn one for Moffat to try and take P3 from Daly. Though Moffat was very early on the brakes, and Daly can just take his normal racing line and continue ahead in P3.
I think the reason why Moffat just gave that away let's say gave that away. He didn't go for the Ted send, if you like. Is he sees Daly's making a few little mistakes here and there. He's probably just playing the waiting game, knowing that if he stays in the mirror for long enough, that Daly will make a really big mistake, a big slide, or goes off the track or whatever. He's still got 17 minutes left of this race. Doesn't need to push that hard. He probably knows that he's not going to get second place. 17 seconds back is a pretty big gap to Flamger and IPEC. And if you know those two guys, you know they are fast and they are consistent with their lap times. So really, he's looking at P3. That's all you should be looking at right now. Is third place is right in front of me. Shall I sit here for a few laps, see what Daly does, see what lines he takes? Don't try and go for some silly tens, because that can end up him taking Daly out, and then ruin your Moffat's own race. I think he's playing the long game, if you like, and I think that's pretty good for now. Just have to see where, with like 5 minutes left of the race, what Moffat does. Will he start trying to get on the inside of Daly and just try and get his car in there?
Yeah, and as you said, it's quite a big gap then to the front with Timothy Flamger there. He's got a little bit of a buffer of about 6 seconds to Adnan Pasina behind. So at the moment, he does have that time to play the waiting game. But yeah, it might change completely if Pasina is now able to catch up, if he takes it easy. Now looking at Timothy Flamger, 17 seconds ahead of Jordan Daly and about 9 seconds behind Levent Ipek, who has just been storming away. Like those two are in like a league of their own. Ipek just storming away, having let the lap from the word go, also taking pole position, fastest lap so far. It's been a fairly easy race for him, but of course, as always, these races are also difficult because you're just driving around and sometimes you get in a little bit of a trance, and if you don't focus up, a mistake is just around the corner. As we now look back to Sahil Mustak trying to it's actually Redford who's just passed Mustak in the previous lap. We're in the previous corner, and this is currently the battle of the Hondas, trying to see who reigns supreme in the Japanese monster. Still a good exit from both of them out of the De La Roja as they enter towards Lesmo 1 and then Lesmo 2. But yeah, as we've seen, that Redford has already passed Mustak and has been going forward ever since. Maybe it's a bit too much for Mustak to try and fight Redford this time round.
Yeah, maybe. And I'll translate for Jesse. It's Acura, and it doesn't know what Honda is, but it's okay. But just looking at Pasina, he's got a pretty big gap of almost 10 seconds to Alan, who's in second in silver. So Pasina's just chilling. I think from Malcolm having the incident earlier and having to back out of the race, unfortunately, just chilling in first place, getting some free 3 points there. So, and the same with Adam really in second place. Not really got doesn't really need to worry about Gary Barham in the 31 Ferrari, who's behind Phil Roberts at this moment in time. So I think a lot of people just sort of chilling out, knowing they've only got 13 minutes left of the race. The gap is pretty big. If I was Alan at this moment in time, it's one of those where you would need to literally get a second lap on pace over Pasina, and that is a big asking to do. I can already see from the previous lap times that they are 4/10 slower than Pasina. So if I was them, I would just sort of chill out, keep my pace going, but try and not get the track warnings, as we see Green Lift did really early on in the race and got that drive through. And just chill. You're second place, and you got a lot of points under your belt.
Yeah, definitely. And the fight is still going on here for P3 between Jordan Daly and Danny Moffat. They're getting closer and closer, but coming out of Ascari, it's still that 5 to 6 tenths difference between them. Just not enough for Danny Moffat to try and attack into Parabolica. But yeah, as you've been saying, Moffat is now patiently waiting for any mistake from Jordan Daly as they go through the Parabolica and towards the start-finish straight with 12.5 minutes to go. Yeah, with lap times of around 1:48. See about 7 more laps maybe, so it's not actually too much time left for Moffat to do anything, but we have seen he's been getting closer and closer. But as she also just mentioned, Phil Roberts, we haven't seen too much of him, but slowly but surely he's been rising through the pack as we now see him in the Thunderbirds 2 Bentley as he crosses the start-finish line. And yeah, got himself up to P7 now. So yeah, starting P15 now up to P7, 8 positions gained. It's a shame we haven't seen him do the overtakes, but as a comeback drive from quite far behind, this is a good drive by Phil Roberts.
Yeah, sure is. You know, Daly and Phil didn't have the best of qualities. Starting 16th and 15th, Daly to Phil. And look at them, Daly's in 3rd, Phil's in 7th, 5th overall in Pro. He's doing the job well. And I'd like to point out as well, if you look at the track map on the right hand side of your screen, we have a train forming between a load of cars. I think that's from 8th place down to 14th place. So there could be some battling going on soon. You know, we've got 11 minutes left of the race. This is when moves start forming. People start trying to get their way past each other. Maybe some little contacts. Hopefully not. We do like to see some crashes every now and then, but it's not what the drivers want, unfortunately. But it's just nice to see how like everyone is on pace with each other, and not everyone is walking away with the race like IPEC and Flandre, for instance. But it is just nice to see that, you know, this grid is how they pre-queued is spot on with their race pace.
Yeah, and especially after it just seemed to get a gap everywhere. It's all closed down now in the final stages of this race. And as you said before, this is now where we're going to start seeing the sense where people try a bit harder to get past their opponents. And speaking of what people might do for the rest of the race, we see a Mark Bayliss in the YouTube chat. He says, as the Car 5 Thomas Allen crew chief, that's exactly what we told him just to do. And that's in reference to what you, of course, said. You're in P2, you're getting good points, and just take it easy, don't do anything stupid, and you get a good haul of points. So yeah, you were spot on there, Ted.
Wait, hold up. Tim Allen actually has a human crew chief? That's pretty pog right there. I have to use the software to tell me what to do. But you know, that's pretty. That's pretty cool. Can you hear Jesse in my ear saying a good analysis about the pog? Got a problem, Jesse? Want to fight?
Oh,
but no, it's yeah, no.
As Ted is now having a fight with our broadcaster, Jesse, we're looking now here at Paulo Moutinho, who's coming out of turn 2. A little bit wiggly for Moutinho there as he tries to stay ahead there. Oh, he's actually just overtaken Barham for P8. So he's now actually trying to get away, and that wiggle out of Lesmo 2 is not helping him. But one thing that has happened, I saw a yellow flag there out of Lesmo 1. That was the 222 of João Manso. And speaking of the battle we have been seeing a lot, Danny Moffat has passed Jordan Daly. But Daly is fighting back here as they go towards turn 1. They're going side by side. Let's see if Daly does the same as Moffat earlier. Oh, that's... seems a bit of a late move to the inside by Moffat. But yeah, if... Daly has something against it. He can do it in the post-race stewarding. But yeah, that was very close indeed. And close as well is this battle between Gary Barham and Moutinho in the Mercedes as they also go towards turn 1 side by side. Let's see if we see about the same move as we just saw between Moffat and Daly. Though this time it is the Mercedes that wins out against the Ferrari as they go through turns 1 and 2.
Just so everyone knows, I'm not really gonna have a fight with Jesse. Okay? Just so everybody knows, I like Jesse very much. But yeah, we've got a lot of battles going on here at this moment. Jordan Daly and Danny Moffat are fighting very close. This is going to be close. 7.5 minutes left of the race, and it's already hot in it. Like I said, it would. Just looking out, Gary Barham has just gone wide out of the second chicane. He was ahead of the pack from 9th place, but has dropped back. But yeah, we've also just lost a car, and I will find out who that is in a moment. But yeah, look at this train. Grim Lilith trying to make his way through up to 13th place from I think 16th, 17th after his drive-through. But yeah, it's all hotting up here. There's 7 minutes of the race to go.
Yeah, and as we just saw, if you go wide, especially as the pack is this close, you are going to lose positions. And that's one car going wide and another one going towards the barrier. I don't know whether he saved it, but maybe we'll figure out in a little bit. I think it was Gary Barham losing it there. He's now lost quite a bit of time to the pack ahead. But yeah, there you can see, if you go wide now, especially in a tight pack like this, so close to the end of the race, you will lose a lot of positions. Yeah, we can now see the likes of Grim Lilith using that to go ahead of all the other drivers, now finding himself into P11. So gain a lot of positions that lap. We're also seeing a message once again in the YouTube chat, seeing Gearhead25 saying, hey guys, I'm seeing you guys want a commentator for EU time zones on weekday races. Of course, we always would like to see more people help us out here at RCI. Just head over to the Discord, look for the vacancies, and then fill in your information there if you want to help out. We're always looking for more people to help us out, especially broadcasters and stewards, but every help is very much appreciated. We're now looking here, 5 minutes 40 seconds to go. So we now see the pack go towards Lesmo 1. Grim Lilith leading this trio of Lilith, Pinlop and Starkey. A little bit of dirt there for Lilith, but it's still all good there. Once again, we go back to the fight between Daly and Pusina. And Moffat very close together. There's a little bit of contact there as Daly takes the inside. Bit of a wiggle there from Moffat, but it does seem like Daly has got the position here. Moffat won't be happy with that one. We're looking apparently through the grates of the pit lane there. Not really helping us there. And yeah, let's see if Moffat shoots up the inside here, but he decides to stay behind Daly, thinking he'll probably make another mistake again. And yeah, continue on it. No! Moffat's gone off there.
Moffat just lost it. I don't know if that was contact. I can have.
Oh no!
He's got it again.
His tyres are cooked after that first spin. He keeps rolling around there now. Yeah, losing it again on the grass. I don't know what happened that first time round. I don't know whether there was contact there between him and Daly. I'm seeing, something for him, but not whether he had contact with Daly. And that's a shame, because this was a very close fight. I would love to have seen that conclude at the end of the race, see who comes out in P1. But once again, we see a drive-through for Grim Lilith. This is not his race.
Yeah, no, it's not Grim's race today. He will still get P6 points in Pro, but he was making time back. Not enough to get past Phil for the 5th place, but yeah, 6th place is all he can get. 2 drive-throughs in one race. That's and at Monza, he's just really pushing that car to his end. But yeah, Daniel Moffat, he lost it himself. He touched the right-hand curb of T1, and the car just slid out and went to the right, as we saw. And from that slide, it just cooked the tires a bit too much. And then when we went back to him, he slid again. I just saw Jordan Daly do the biggest wiggle through Parabolica. I do not know how he saved that. He almost was in the barrier, but yeah, that fight is now gone. Jordan Daly just needs to chill out in P3. 3 minutes 10 left on that clock. But the only real fight we've got going on now is Grim Lilith trying to get past Mustang, but Grim still got that drive-through, so it will be down to a 3-car fight in silver for 4th place.
Well, looking at the time left, it might be Grim Lilith's decision to just stay out, because there might be enough time left to finish the race, though. I do see now on my own screen he's only got 1 lap left to do that drive-through penalty, so I think it will be too little too late with over 2 minutes left and about 1 minute 48 per lap. Oh, that's very close together, and Lilith jumps over the Scottish curb.
I think
Neil Pinot is being hit from behind and loses out big time. Don't think there's a lot we can expect from Starkey there, because a lot of stuff happened in front of him. Like, he'll probably have slowed down anyway, but yeah, that's really been a bad 2 corners for Neil Pinot there, as we now see Starkey trying to get past Grim Lilith, shooting up the inside. Oh, that was close. That was so close.
Got my heart going there, Kevin. But yeah, I think Pinot just messed up his brake and coming to T1 and forced Grim wide. Grim did very well. Just unfortunately got the sausage curb, bounced him into the BMW. BMW stopped because the Grim was in the way, and Starkey just hits him in the rear. It's just a domino effect. One person makes a mistake going to either these 2 chicanes or Ascari, and then it just, you know, domino effects into the other cars behind.
Yeah, definitely, and we still see Starkey getting very much closer and closer to Grim Lilith, though this chicane is probably one of the strongest points for the Porsche compared to any other car. It's now going to be interesting to see whether Grim Lilith does take that drive through this lap or suffer the consequences of not doing that if he crosses the start-finish line now. We would just have to wait and see about that. I think, yeah, this is now currently the closest battle we have here between Starkey and Pinot for basically P10, and yeah, that's Grim Lilith not taking the drive-through penalty, and has been disqualified for not taking the drive-through penalty. I don't know whether he knew or whether he was hoping he'd be able to finish the race without serving it, but yeah, that's Grim Lilith out of this race.
That is a shame. He could have just done the pit stop and got the 6th place points, but I'll have to have a word with him later on and get back to you next weekend. But we still got 20 seconds of the race. IPEC is going to cross the line for another lap. It's just crossed the line right now, so there will be 1 more lap for them. So, ooh, what is happening here? Pinot, with all these not so good corners, decides to go the bumpy way round, but still manages to keep it on the track and not finding the Barry R. But yeah, fight for 5th in silver is still on the cards. There's not really any other fights around. Everyone's just spread out again. And I said about this train 7 minutes ago, we had this train of 6 cars, and as from all the little bumps and bashes, they are just spread out again.
Yeah, and that is what happens. Like, once people start making mistakes, you have people having to slow down, people going around you, especially if you go wide or slow down because of something else, then it starts to spread out again. Yeah, that was a bit wobbly there from Neil Pinot in the De La Roggia chicane. Still trying to get past Starkey here. Don't know whether he got a track warning for that, but I think at this point, if he has that track warning he can take in the pocket, might as well just floor it and try and gain as much as you can. That is the race driver instinct. He's getting closer and closer to the back there of Starkey, slowly but surely. Will it be enough to outbrake him into turn 1? I think it's just a little bit too far to try anything this lap, but this is the final lap for everyone. I think that's a collision between Starkey and Pinot there into turn 1. Let's wait if Pinot's going to wait for Starkey or continues on. And I think maybe he'll wait for him at the next chicane, but yeah, that looked like a collision there between Pinot and Starkey, and that was basically our last fight on track, being fizzled out in that way.
IPEC comes across first in the pro category, a massive lead over Flamger with 10 seconds. Flamger comes home in 2nd place, just crossing that start-finish line. Jordan Daly coming up to Parabolica for 3rd place from 16th overall, is now up to 3rd place. What a drive from that Mercedes driver. We know he's a good driver, that's why he is in our esports team, but look at him go. What a nice drive, and even with an injury as well.
Very well
See,
said. We now see Adnan Pusina also cross the line with Thomas Allen right behind him, couple seconds behind for silver P2. Danny Moffat now also crosses the line. Phil Roberts behind, who take Pro P5 in that Bentley Thunderbird 2 liveried car. Now Paolo Martino crosses the start-finish line to take silver P3. So that's your silver podium. Mustak now takes the flag, and just a few more cars left. Seems like Pinwell did give it back there at the end, so that is nice to see that he basically put his hands up, said, sorry, that's my mistake, and gave the position back there to Starkey. As we now have the last car to cross the line as the 222 of Xiao Manso, and that has been your race here this evening in the RCI Saturday Night Owl. So you now look at the final standings of today's race. Levent Ipek winning here from pole position, gaining massive points in the pro standings. Second to Timothy Flamger, second position in a row, and Jordan Daly in P3. Adnan Pusina P4 taking P1 in the silver class, with Thomas Allen taking P2 and Martinho taking P3 in silver class. Ted, who is your driver of the day?
Jordan Daly. Well, I've got to say Jordan Daly and Phil Roberts. Like, Phil did very, very well to come back from P15, and Jordan Daly gaining 13 places in that race and getting a podium. That's pretty mad. But they both drove so well. I got to give it to both of them. I can't choose one driver. But yeah, that was a really good race. We had a few contacts here and there, but yeah, it's a pretty crazy race.
Yeah, crazy race indeed. We've seen some very good racing, some collisions as well. But yeah, that always tends to happen, especially if people are fighting really hard for every points position. But yeah, that's just part of racing. There is one more partner we have to thank for today. That is AK Esports. They are the leader in esports management and competitions around the world. We use them for our service solutions, and for more info on what they can provide for you, visit akesports.it. This has been quite the race here. If you did enjoy it, please consider to subscribe on YouTube and hit the like button. It helps out a lot. And we're also starting to stream more and more on Twitch. So over there, go to RCI TV and hit the follow button to also be able to follow us there and see what we do out on the Twitch platform. Further on, if you enjoyed what you see and you might want to participate in our races, go to racerci.com, where on Monday we currently have the BMW Academy. Second round is at Brands Hatch. In the BMW Academy, we race in the 3 different BMWs. At Brands Hatch is the second round in the M2 Cup car, with rounds 3 and 4 in the M4 GT4 and the final 2 rounds in the M4 GT3. We have one more race in our Wednesday championship at the Nürburgring, and on next week we also have the final race of Saturday Night Owl at Suzuka. 90-minute race. Anything else you want to add for that race, Ted?
You'll have to wait until next weekend.
You have to wait until next weekend. Keeping it exciting, as always, for Saturday Night Owl. This has been our stream this evening. I want to thank you all very much for watching. From myself, Ted Edwards, and Jesse Lee behind the cameras, thank you all very much for watching, and see you all next time.